It's freedom, folks, but not as we once knew it. Boris Johnson's bizarre messaging today is the Prime Minister attempting to straddle his libertarian roots and rightly lockdown sceptical MPs with the scientific doom merchants who now loom so large in public life. So Freedom Day will go ahead on Monday, but just don't you dare call it that. You can go to a nightclub if you want, but it wouldn't be taking social responsibility to rip off your mask, even though legally you'll be able to do so. Are you following? Probably not. The contradictions are maddening. And it makes it clear that the public health and safety crew have taken control of public life. As I've warned for the past 15 months, it was always one of the real risks of coming close to allowing SAGE to make policy, or at least have an unofficial right of veto. The PM's tone today was notably different to previous press conferences heralding a future return to freedom.
But it is absolutely vital that we proceed now with caution. And I cannot say this powerfully or emphatically enough. This pandemic is not over. This disease, coronavirus, continues to carry risks for you and your family. We cannot simply revert instantly from Monday the 19th of July to life as it was before COVID. We will stick to our plan to lift legal restrictions and to lift social distancing. But we expect and recommend that people wear a face covering in crowded and enclosed spaces where you come into contact with those you don't normally meet, such as on public transport.
Look, perhaps the Prime Minister's change in tone was inevitable with cases soaring just as the country loses most legal restrictions on Monday. But that's why it's so infuriating that the good news is not stressed and that we keep talking about a mysterious vaccine-invading variant that simply doesn't exist anywhere in the world. Why not talk about the fact that, according to the ONS, 90% of English adults have COVID antibodies? Even Chris Whitty found it hard to make a realistic case today for the NHS being overwhelmed. It's the middle of summer. Every adult who wants to be jabbed has had one. 2/3 have had the second jab. That reduces the chances of hospitalisation by 90%. If we cannot open now, then we are locked down Britain in perpetuity. We'll be trapped in COVID jail, just like Australia and New Zealand currently are, pursuing an unrealistic zero COVID society that impinges freedoms and closes the borders long term. So I'm sorry to the bedwetters, but I intend to reclaim my freedoms on Monday. I will be celebrating Freedom Day. I will be enjoying the big bang return of our civil liberties that should never have been taken away. And I'll be fighting against the imposition of a biosecurity state where vaccine passports are encouraged by the government. Whether you join me or not is, of course, up to you. But we're only on this great planet once. We only have one chance at this life. It's not a dress rehearsal, folks. So let's start living again. And please do not judge folk who choose to live. Now, it's so shocking to me how quickly the craven, England-hating Liberal left used last night's defeat to round on the country as a whole. Let me be clear. I absolutely deplore all forms of violence and racism. Those responsible for both disgusting actions should be dealt with by the full force of the law. But we must not allow this tiny number of folk to overshadow what has been a magnificently unifying Euros tournament, largely thanks to Gareth Southgate's young Three Lions squad, who brought respect back to football in England. Sadly, that's immediately what some division-stoking celebs chose to do. Take Jamila Jamil. You know her, don't you? The outspoken Meghan Markle-supporting English actress who now, never forget, lives in Hollywood. She wrote on Instagram, all of that progress, all of that love and pride and unity, all to end in racism and abuse. That's how we will now remember this final, not as the extraordinary victory of such a brilliant England team for even making it to the final, but as the low-life vitriol of football fans. They are attacking Italian fans, abusing black people in the street, and domestic abuse is predicted to rise by 38% if England loses. What is this? Why do they never learn? What punishment has to happen to them for them to learn? Does England have to be banned everywhere because its fans still don't know how to behave? We best see every white player in the entire country condemn the racist behaviour of their fans. So that was Jamila Jamil from Los Angeles, from Hollywood. That was her take on this situation. I call her out for spreading depressing and divisive rhetoric. Why on earth should we allow a small group of racist and violent fools to overshadow millions and millions of English folk coming together to celebrate a brilliant side who did so damn well to make it to the final? There was rightly instant condemnation of the racist abuse from political leaders across the spectrum. Here's what Boris Johnson said about them at his press conference earlier today.
They made history, they lifted our spirits, they brought joy to this country, and I know that they will continue to do so. And to those who have been directing racist abuse at some of the players, I say shame on you, and I hope you will crawl back under the rock from which you emerged. Because this entire team played like heroes, and I'm sure that this is just the beginning.
Yes, he's right. And the Met Police immediately vowed to investigate and take action. They tweeted, "We are aware of a number of offensive and racist social media comments being directed towards footballers following the Euro 2020 final. This abuse is totally unacceptable and it will not be tolerated and it will be investigated." So that's the police. However, what I find so shocking is the guilty parties who always get off scot-free are the social media giants like Twitter and Instagram and Facebook too, I'll throw them in there too, who allow this racist abuse to be posted unchecked. It is time these US companies are held to account. They need to be held to account for the damage they cause society. Anonymous postings on social media should not be allowed. If you want to say something to Marcus Rashford or Harry Kane or any other public figure, you do it online using your full name and picture. That would immediately make policing these crimes far more realistic. But this disgusting behaviour, this disgusting minority of people should not overshadow what has been a brilliant month. The Three Lions should hold their heads up high. They didn't quite manage to bring football home, but they came closer than any team in 55 years, and they did it with so much national pride and dignity. That's what I'm going to remember. Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows, and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.